We're here tonight for the very last two nights of the Sydney Piano Competition, and here we are with Piers Lane, who is the artistic director of the piano competition, as well as a renowned Australian pianist.
We just thought we'd take this opportunity and just, Piers, now that we're at the end of the competition, do you have any thoughts, advice about what happens next after a competition for all these emerging artists? Whether you win, or for those who maybe haven't been successful winning, but are thinking, what do we do next? How do we move on from?
Well, I just hope that every single competitor in the Sydney has had an uplifting and life-enhancing time. We try to think of everybody right through the competition and to provide support in whatever way that's necessary. The winner, of course, will have an immediate ascent. They've been sending programs to me today via the CEO to check for next week if they happen to turn out to be the winner tomorrow night. And so they commence a tour of capital cities next week and appear at the Australian Festival of Chamber Music in North Queensland as well. They'll be tired, my goodness, they've had to have enormous stamina throughout.
Unbelievable, yeah.
It is, yeah. And there are various engagements. Next year they'll have a major Australian tour. I remember Andre Gugnin had over 50 concerts on his tour back in 2017, I guess, after he won in 2016. Alexander Gandiev had 26 concerts after his win of the online competition. So
it really is quite a launch pad.
It is a launch pad, and there'll be a Wigmore Hall recital in London for the winner. There'll be engagements in America as well, some that are not listed in the. I think first we have to see who wins and where they're based and all sorts of things. But also, I know that 5 of the 6 winners from 2016 came back for Australian tours to play, to give masterclasses. We try to support all of them in different ways. And
well, they've played so much. I mean, each one of them have played over 4 to 5 hours, right?
That's right.
Since they've been here.
They have. And we've seen them in so many settings. We've seen them in a 20-minute bracket to begin with, like you would play in a gala concert or something.
Yeah.
We've seen them in a 30-minute bracket, which might happen when you're sharing a concert with somebody at lunch hour or something. We've seen them in a 70-minute recital, including encore, including verbal introductions, so that we get an idea of what they're like at communicating in verbal ways as well. We've seen them play chamber music in a quick rehearsal period with top soloists. We've seen them move to a massive hall, the Sydney Opera House, from the very grateful acoustic.
Iconic hall, yeah.
Indeed. Of the Verbruggen Hall up the road at the Conservatorium, which is so warm and welcoming and with a lovely acoustic, to the Opera House, suddenly a massive step up, and seen whether they can play stylishly a classical concerto. This next 2 nights we're going to see how they cope with a massive Sydney Symphony Orchestra, full orchestra, and so they've been tested in every which way.
Yeah.
And so all of these 6 finalists have proved enormous stamina and musicality, and of course, goes without saying, fantastic virtuosity and people skills as well. It'll be interesting to see how the jury ends up voting for that all-round package that can represent.
Well, that's
the competition.
interesting. So, for the voting for the jury, how are you going to explain what's important as you place the various finalists?
Those things, I think everything has to be considered. We've seen these people in different situations. Some are magnificent soloists, but do they also have that other thing of being able to work in ensembles, small or large? All of those things have to be considered, because the engagements from Sydney lead to such situations, all situations. So I think it's important.
Well, being
for
a
the jury
pianist generally now.
Absolutely.
Right?
I always bring it back away from piano, but to general, to all young musicians. It's so important, and we've talked a lot through some of the other videos this week about how important it is to be just really rounded and having as many experiences with different musicians. And I wonder the importance of networking and making sure they're connecting, not just with the people here, but with other contestants.
Yeah,
that's right.
Such an important
It's
opportunity.
lovely that at least half a dozen have stayed right throughout the competition, despite having exited from the preliminaries. And it's lovely to see. And they've commented, all of them, on what a lovely time they've had. They've made friends with colleagues from all around the world. And I played in this very competition in 1977, I hate to say. And people that I met then have remained lifelong colleagues. Not necessarily close friends, but Manana Dojasvili, a wonderful woman who died last year very sadly, invited me to play in the Tbilisi Festival and to judge the Tbilisi International Piano Competition. She came 6th in Sydney way back then. A student of Irina Plotnikova, who won that year, competed in this competition, one competed in the last competition. One of our present finalists studied with the 3rd prize winner of the 2016 competition. There are all these links to Sydney that form over the years, and that network
it's really
counts.
understanding that's what makes careers.
Absolutely.
Well, look, thank you so much, Piers.
And it's been a pleasure to be here in the jury.
It's been wonderful to have both of you. You've been fantastic. So
thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Piers.